Hello beautifuls, my name is Epic Treasure. This video is a simplified tutorial on how to make defensive walls in a circular formation in Palworld. If you like what you see, please consider commenting and liking and subscribing. Please let me know if you don't get this again, and tell me what you're not understanding with these details, so I'll improve it next time. So if you know this part, you can skip it. There'll be timestamps in it. In Palworld, when you put a base down, it makes a big circle around the outside. That's the perimeter of your base. So everything you build inside that base. If you build outside that base, your pals won't be able to get to it, right? So if you went, oh, I'm going to build a furnace over here, then your pals can't get to the furnace, right? If you built, for example, a production line over here, no pals will get to it. You have to stay in the base lines. Now, you can have foundation pieces that hang outside of it, but if you have certain settings on, like decay settings, it means over time they can break. We're not going to bother about that because we're staying inside the base today. The biggest issue people have in this game is that the foundation pieces are square, right? Bang, bang. Now, what Pocket Pair geniuses decided to do with this is that once upon a time, they used to enable the fact that you could put stone defensive walls on top of this. You can make a beautiful castle and put these stone defensive walls on it. Bang, bang. You'll see some of my first castles had this feature. They took it away and they made it so you can only ever build on bare ground now. So not on foundation, but bare ground. So what people have to do now, and watch this with many beautiful builds, especially defensive builds, you'll see this beautiful circular base, defensive wall. And people have struggled to understand how people have done this. There's no mods, there's no hacks or anything like that. It's simply the placement of the wall and how you angle it. So I am on controller. If you're on PC, please comment below what your commands are, what your keys are in regards to rotating objects. So we'll get to it in a minute. I'll call upon you in a minute. So say we built our base and we want it to be a defensive base. We want big walls around the outside. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put where the entry point is. And I'm going to follow this big blue line and place that gate down. That's our entry point or exit point, whatever you want. You put as many of these as you want. Right? So this is going to stop enemies coming into it. The next thing you're going to do is the main part of the tutorial, which is stone defensive wall. This is unlocked at level 29, I believe, in your tech tree. You have to unlock this, right? 29 for the stone defensive wall, and then level 31 for the gate. So once you have this unlocked, then we're going to pick the stone defensive wall. This, right? I'm going to go D-pad up, my right stick over, stone defensive wall, and click A on that on Xbox. There are two heights that you can put this on to make it kind of flush. There's this 2-story height. So all I'm doing is using my right stick with my right thumb and going up and then down and then up, down. So you see that the base of it is flush against the ground. We're going to get the right stick and move this defensive wall close to the gate. And we're going to run it along the blue line that is there. And we're going to, on Xbox, press Y. On PlayStation, it'll be triangle. Then I'm going to press that and it drops it. Now, this is the part that people don't seem to get. So I'm going to move my body with my left stick over here. See how it automatically connects to that wall? Look at the crosshairs. Look where my crosshairs are, right? So if I'm over here, I'm just casually walking around. See how it automatically clicks to it. So I'll be here, it automatically clicks to it. So the same goes for foundation pieces. If I put a foundation piece here, and it's almost like a magnet. Here I go, oh, and it sort of sucks on the side of it, click. I'm over here, I get close to it, click. It's the same thing. So when it comes to these walls, it's the same thing too. Stone defensive wall, we're going to select that, and we're going to use the crosshairs and let it snap to it like this, right? So slowly, 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 and snap to it. Don't click any other buttons. There's no reason to click any other buttons. Now, this is a point where PC gamers can come along and say, and tell us what button it is when we start to rotate it. So crosshairs touching the edge of this piece. Look where my crosshairs are, here. They're touching that piece. And it clicks on the side. It's a ghostly blueness, clicks on the side. The important part is where we use our left and right bumper to start to rotate, to start to move this wall towards us, to follow the blue line. So see how it's moving away from us? See how it's moving towards us? Right? So we want to run this along the blue line so it starts to curve. Then we're on Xbox, going to click Y, PlayStation's going to be triangle. Bang. We're going to move slowly over to the next part where it snaps on. And then it's running along the line again. We're going to click triangle or Y. Bang. The next part. See, this part is sort of coming too close towards us. So we're going to use our right bumper or left bumper, in this case left, to move it, left, right, out to whatever is running perfectly along the blue line. It depends on where you're standing on your base, basically. So I'm going to place it down like that, perfectly along the blue line again. Here, perfectly along the blue line. So we follow the blue line along and then rotate again. See that one? Look at that left-hand corner of that defensive wall and the space between that and the blue line. So I'm going to use my left and right bumper to put it in the position. Keep looking for that left bit and then placing it down again over here. Perfect. So keep looking at the left side. Once that crosshair touches the edge of that previous one, like ready? Previous one, I'm not clicking anything. I'm just hovering over it with my right stick. And then keep looking at that bottom left corner of that piece. See how its arse hangs out of the base's perimeter? So want to dial it in, bring it towards us again, right? Bumper, left bumper. Again, PC people, tell me what your command is for that. Place that one down. Again, crosshairs, just hover it over the edge. Look for that left arse piece, bottom left, and then move it out towards the blue line again. And then keep going, and then keep going. And this will make a perfect circle. Now, sometimes you might have certain terrain things in the way. They can be rocks, for example. There could be a whole cliff face, and you're just going to have to work around that. But keep that in mind before you choose your base spot, so you're not building on a place that you can't build a defensive wall. Sometimes you might have to build, something that's not totally circular. You might have to go wonky for a little bit. So let's role play and say it's a big rock here that we can't move. Then we can just go build, pull the wall towards us. So here I've got my crosshair here, and we're just imagining. We're imagining there's a big rock here, and we're going to go around that rock to continue our defensive wall. And again, crosshairs on the edge of that. Rotate it around by using your right bumper or left bumper, and building around that is infiltrating where we're trying to build a defensive wall. See how I'm rotate. Like that, right? So it enables us to still build a wall, but, take into consideration these unfortunate terrain things that we just can't change sometimes. It just depends on where you put your base. And that's why it's handy and, smart to build a base that is on flat land. The amount of times that I built a base on very rocky terrain is just insane. And I would not recommend it for anybody. And I would not recommend it for anybody that's making tutorials either. It's going to take you 8 hours to make a base. And it's just a nightmare. So flat land is always the way to go, unless you really want a challenge. So again, just try to stick to that blue line as much as you can. So I'm just clicking. When that crosshair hits the edge, it will snap onto it just by nature. That one's sticking out a bit. And then out. Bring it in. There, there, there. And just keep doing it. We get the flow of it eventually. This thing is in my way. Is this in my way? Defensive wall. No, we're good. And sometimes if it's red, there's just going to be something in the way. Also, not only that, if your body is in the way, like this, that's the reason why it can't be built. Get out the way and then you'll be fine. Like that, and then keep going. So when I'm saying we're building a circular defensive wall, that's literally what we're doing. We're building a defensive wall around the base that is circular in shape. Now, sometimes if you have these big gaps like this, you can go and get a stone pillar, for example, and you can place a stone pillar there, a stone pillar there, and then you can build upon those, for example. We can move this stone gate. We can probably move the stone gate over so it fits better like this, see? And then build that up. So we're going to fly now over the top of this place. And get the full view of it. So you could make an amazing design, an inner courtyard, beautiful foundation, features, fountains. Let me just jump down here. We're going to make this go to daytime. What I'll do for you now is I'm going to take you to the beautiful base. There's a tour for this one at the moment. I know people want a tutorial on this one. It's extremely demanding time-wise for you. This is the triple hexalite base. Please put a comment below if you want to see this, because it is an utter nightmare to build. As you see, we've got the 3 hexalite ore things that will go down there. I'll do a flyover in a second after we can have some daylight. This base took a very long time. If you know this area, it is unpleasant to build. It's the ugliest place I think that exists in the game. But what are you going to do? You know, that's where they put the 3 hexalite ore pieces. So beggars can't be choosers. Let me just dump some in the guild chest and we'll grab the rest in this expedition. This base it's not all in one, because it doesn't have the crude oil, but the other base, which I'll take you to also before we go, because you really don't want to miss it, is I think the best one to build if you want an all-in-one base. We get rid of this pale oil. It has all its own vendors and everything like that, and yeah, just lovely, a really lovely base. So and that's at base 7.0. Check the tutorial out. You'll not be disappointed in it. It's my home, not this one. So this is a beautiful triple hexalite base. It features obviously the triple hexalite you can see in the window there. It is obviously multi-story. It's got all of the production lines on the roof down here. We've got all of the mining nodes down here. We've got like this sort of sunken chill out area. The whole hexalite section is literally just a Zen garden. That's what I wanted it to be built like. I do think that this base, it should never be designed so much as an all-in-one base, because the only sort of natural things that it has in it, besides the 3 hexalite, or it does have a crude oil spot at the back of it. It's just a nice spot to have just because of that hexalite, and just people, you know, they just get really overexcited about these meta bases. This is the meta base to get your hexalite. It just so happens there's 3 of them here. That's really the only reason why. And then we got that crude oil spot. But the crude oil, to me, these spots are just totally overrated beyond recognition. But that's this spot. And that thing over in the distance is literally just a facade. And that's so when you're in this space, you don't have to look at the ugly Mad Max looking camp that they've got outside, which I just find is visually offensive. So check out the base tour on that one. Very, very cool with the Zen garden. But the main base here, we'll go there very quickly. And we'll do the flyer of the other one. This is the one you don't want to miss. This is one I've always gone back to and I have not changed my mind. To this date, it is everything in a base you could possibly imagine. So I'm going to just jump up on the dragon here. Yeah, it's got 4 breeding pens. It has the display case. It has the essence machine. It's got the expedition thing. It's got 3 triple tier 2 oil nodes, etc. It's got the gold production line. I have no idea how much gold's popping off at the moment. Bang, look at that. It's just deranged. Just absolutely deranged. And the purpose of this base is to make as much money as possible and to get as much materials as possible to make cakes for breeding, right? So in this base, there's usually 3 vendors here. That's vendor shop 1, 2, 3. They're bound there all the time. So you can buy all the goods that you need in order to make the cakes. Up here is the whole beehive. The beehive is there because you can't buy honey off vendors. So it is like a crazy, crazy production facility. So if I were to go over here and make a birthday cake, we can see that with honey, we have 30,000 honey just sitting there waiting. And that is purely because of that beehive that's just perpetually popping off. So absolutely worth the build for that. So let's go back to this. We'll have a flyover to have a good shot of the circular drip. And that is how to build, but getting back to this, is a circular defensive wall. I don't know how much, I don't know how this can confuse anybody. So please let me know in the comments how this tutorial on making these walls is confusing. I'll do it one more time. I'm going to pick it. I'm going to pick the defensive wall. I've run out of cement, so I'm just going to break a wall or 2. I'm grab the bits and pieces from it. And again, stone defensive wall. So say we're going to make this one a 2-story wall up here. Right? Big daddy wall. I'm going to go up and pick the defensive wall again. I'm going to get my crosshairs. I'm going to touch the wall. Crosshairs touch the main wall, the chunky wall, the solid wall that exists. So it clicks onto it. So it clicks, like now it's away from it. It sort of sucks onto it like a magnet. Then I'm going to use my right bumper or left bumper to rotate that newly clicked ghost-looking defensive wall onto it. Right? So if we're building a circle, it's obviously going to have to curve around like that. The next one, curve it again like that. Right? So that is how we're making a circle. If you want the circle to be tighter, then you're going to have to make the angle of it a little bit more extreme. So we're going to pull it towards us more like this. We're going to snap that on, and we're going to pull that one towards us more. And then with this one, like this. So if you're going to have something like on the corner of your wall, if you're building a castle, for instance, you can start to pull in that side more. You know what I mean? So we can fly over. And we can have these things on the edges of your builds, and you can build foundation pieces up to that with stairs and put turrets on the top of your foundation pieces, etc. And so on and so forth. So that's how you use defensive walls and put them in a pattern by using your right bumper and left bumper. I don't know if I can explain it any better than that. Hopefully that makes sense. Yes, let me know in the comments, and that will be the last tutorial for the circular defensive walls. I hope it made sense. Maybe people on PC might not understand how that works. But I love and leave you. I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope it makes sense, and I will see you next time.